If you've ever wanted to design molded fiber packaging, this is the episode for you, because today we're talking to the team that's created this new Lancome box wrap. It's all molded fiber. It's completely one piece of monomaterial packaging. It's changing the way that product is being packaged. They're also the team that developed this wrap for Ruinart champagne. This was the first piece. You've seen it everywhere if you're in packaging. These guys are changing the game with molded fiber. They're doing something completely different. And we're talking to Richard Dancy and Rowan Noel from Colourform. These guys are based in Lakes District, north of London, but they're doing some amazing work. And we're going to talk about what you design. Like, how do you design it? We're going to talk about the 5 things that you've got to know before you even start designing molded fiber. And we're going to get into the details of how they created this product for Lancome. All right, so do me a favor before we jump into the episode. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you're listening to this. Do me a favor, subscribe to it. It helps me continue to grow and bring more information for you to become a better packaging designer and help you package your product even better. All right, guys, let's get to the show. If you can do a quick introduction, Richard and Rowan, who you are and what you guys do would be amazing.
Sure, I'll go first if you like. So my name is Richard Dancy, and I'm the brand manager at Colourform by James Cropper. And I look after all the communication and the brand and the values of our story and the products and services that we offer as part of our molded fibre options.
Cool. And Rowan, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm the senior designer here at Colourform. Been here for approximately 5-6 years, and I've been working on some of the projects, the Ruinart project, the Dom Ruinart, and this one, the Lancome La Vie Espelle project as well. So, been really fun 5-6 years. Really interesting projects as well to go with it. So
you sent over this Lancome piece, and I'll have photos of this. Just going over the video. I'll share photos of this as part of the promo for this. But I mean, this is a beautiful sculpture. I see that you're using the same lock that you did on the Ruinart piece. Have you patented this?
It's similar. It's not. The Ruinart one is in a different sector, so obviously it's in the drink sector, and this is a fragrance. Yeah,
but the lock mechanism being similar in that the way that you're holding this closed. Have you patented this lock?
This particular lock one is similar. You're right. I suppose in aesthetics as well. The one that you refer to on the Ruinart one, we have painted it, although in the way that it closes, it's got a slightly different function in the terms where this one kind of front sits on the back. On the Ruinart one, it kind of interlocks below and above the clasp and like triangulates those 3 points. I don't believe that we've painted this one particularly. I think it's possibly covered with the other painting.
I think it might be. I've some information that says it's a patented clasp. So, yeah. But I don't know if it's the detail, whether it's particular to this one or whether it's the in general. But what I do know is that nobody else knows how to do it. We're the only people who are doing it.
That's right. Unless they pinch Rowan, right?
Yeah. It's not easy, that's for sure. It's each one's challenge.
I mean that's what's amazing. All right, so let's talk about this. So Lancome comes to you, and I'm just gonna do a quick opening of this box. I appreciate the bottle being in here. Makes it.
I'm sorry you didn't get the perfume video. Sorry, we didn't.
I thought this water smelled delicious.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got a bottle. This form matches it perfectly.
Yeah.
It snaps closed.
Yeah.
Lancome comes to you. What's the process? Like, what's their goal, and then what's the process to get here?
The main key aspects for their project was that their bottle, it's iconic, and the way that they have the band around the neck with the leaf pattern was something that was just not, the visual language of that was just not coming through with their current packaging, with it going into a box. They really wanted to sort of bring that through and almost accentuate those aspects of the design and bring it through to the packaging and sort of it would want to be something that's instantly recognizable from on the shelf. They came to us and said, and sort of said, we need this packaging that's going to be, tightly wrapped around our product, but also, show the silhouette from a distance, and that combined with features to sort of really bring through the sort of the floral aspect of it. So, and then as well as things like, that they wanted it to be able to be opened and to see the product within, but then also reclosed against, as you touched on, as the clasp aspect was really important for them. It's, we worked through quite a few design iterations on the fact that they wanted this developing fairly quickly, and they didn't really want, so they ran with like a couple of different aspects around especially around the sort of the leaves around the neck, to sort of to try and get the high quality that they were really looking for in the part.
Just to add to that, they the brand itself, the La Vie Belle from Lancome, has been going 10 years now. So it's an incredibly successful brand, La Vie Belle, and it's a new edition called Domaine de la Rose, which is telling the story of where they grow the organic centifolia roses, which is harvested in Grasse in the south of France. So, and along with that sort of celebration, they're number one in Europe and number three in the world with this fragrance. They wanted to sort of highlight their craftsmanship and also how beautiful and delicate it is, but also with a sort of nod to their sustainability credentials and innovation and know-how. Obviously this is recyclable, eco-designed, biocellulose paper, all those kind of things. So it was really important for them to be able to have a beautiful object, which includes the packaging, and often in the past the packaging is perhaps not as great as the product itself, whereas this, as you've identified, is it's actually becomes an object of desire itself, and it's great to touch, it looks fantastic, and it really they're really excited about something like this as an innovation in the market. It's the first in the fragrance market to have a one piece, designed with this this embossed detail.
As a packaging designer, right, I saw the pictures of this. I saw they'd posted some of the sketches of kind of the direction they wanted. I know typically
Sure.
those sketches and the photos are done after the fact, right? Because it's all marketing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The process is a little bit dirtier than what that looks like.
Yeah,
This
Rowan can tell you
Lancome
about that.
La Vie Belle, the packaging, it's a one piece. It unlocks, it opens up, it has the shape of the bottle. The purpose of packaging is typically to protect the product. So what kind of product protection does this provide? And does this product in this industry, in terms of the fragrance side, does it require as much packaging and protection as we typically see in fragrance, which is like a rigid box and an insert and all these different components?
Generally, really starting to assess, not just us, but like the whole market, assess what level of protection and do products really require, because often I think we find a lot of the time that things are way over packaged.
I would say that this is a limited edition, and so it's the start of their journey with exploring the options in packaging. I think that they, as far as we're aware, because it's only it's a limited launch at the moment. I don't believe it's an e-commerce to the consumer. It's direct to store. And I've seen in the Champs-Élysées, their store in Paris, their sort of flagship store, that it comes in an outer pack separated just by the sort of I think it's like 6 or 8 in a pack, and they're sort of diagonally fit into like an outer cardboard, like a sort of honeycomb protection, but very little cardboard. Whereas the box that if you buy it in currently, which is not this limited edition, is a folding box with plastic around the outside, similar to pretty much every other one that you would normally buy. So as Rowan says, it's reduced the amount a lot, but at the moment it's not a full replacement. I know we've talked before about the Ruinar and the Dom Ruinar, and that is a genuinely full replacement to the gift boxes they used to use. Whereas at the moment this is a limited edition, and they're exploring what's possible, and we'll learn a lot from this particular iteration.
If I am a fragrance company, a tech company, I'm looking for something this innovative, right? Because now this packaging is hitting all the packaging blogs. Obviously, you're on here. We're going to start seeing a lot more promotion around the pack, and I think from a brand standpoint, I think Lancome's going to be showing this in their marketing, because just like Ruinar, I mean, this is a piece of art in terms of packaging, and you've got the reduction, the monomaterial. There's a whole story here. Brands are going to want to move into this space. I think 2023 is Colourform is blowing up. I think everybody's moving into this because everybody's looking for the new thing, and this is like the new thing in packaging.
Yeah, there's a few brands that have been looking for license to go ahead with this material, and the likes of Ruinar and Lancome, and we have some other partners that we've worked with both in the fragrance and drinks sectors. They're now picking this up and running with it. So there's been some there's some benefit to being the first mover, and there's some risks to being the first mover. But I think that first move has now happened, and like you say, it will really pick up from here. So yeah, we're braced for more.
Rowan's going to just move into the office. Is what's happening.
Yeah, right? Pretty much. Yeah, it's Thanks for the kind words. To be honest, it's
in terms of like the top 5 things that a designer needs to know when they move into molded fiber, right? Because I think today designers look at molded fiber and they think of an insert for an iPhone, right? And that's the pinnacle of molded fiber in the mind of designers. It feels super smooth. The edges are super sharp. You've got these 90-degree edges. You've got these draft angles that are almost impossible. So that's like the pinnacle of molded fiber in the mind of designers. This is like a completely new level for a designer that's wanting to move into a high level, beautiful designed molded fiber. It's not an insert, a piece of molded fiber art. What are the top 5 things that they definitely need to know?
I think that the number one that we had written down was what does the product, what does the designer, what is the brand, what do they want the packaging to say? So number one would be, what's the story? What does your packaging say about your brand? Because the packaging you choose communicates so much more than just the product. It's about making a statement that aligns with the brand, the product story. So that's where we start. Now, some brands will have, some designers will have some preconceived ideas. They might even come with a design that they've already thought of, which is fine. But actually, sometimes we'll pull them back a notch and just say, okay, what is it? What's crucial in the story for this particular product? What is that? Where do you want us to start? And that's why Ruinar and this Lancome La Vie Belle has been so successful, is that they both had really strong brand stories and heritage, and it links in with that, and they're able to tell that story. So I think that's in the process, that's where we start, and then there's lots of other things that Rowan gets involved with, which, as he said, I caught him outside in the garden recently, and with a clay mold, and actually took some pictures of him molding with his scalpel and his hands, and it was fantastic. And then when that product's launched, we'll probably be able to share those with you. And then and then we do the CAD designs and the 3D prints and the all the things that you'd expect as part of product development. Number 2 is, how can Colourform help you move closer to your sustainability or ESG commitments, environmental, social, governmental? Most brands and companies and products that we deal with, they've set some targets, right? So they say by 2025 they're going to do this, and by 2030, 2040 or whatever, they're going to do this. So I think that's an important consideration. It's not the detail of the design or the product itself. It's totally recyclable. We use 100% green energy here at James Cropper, which majority we self-generate on site from solar and hydro. So there's, you can add organic inclusions as part of the circularity story of the brand. So there's all that can be part of that.
Before we get to the number 3, you talk about organic inclusions. So, for example, for the Lancome La Vie Belle, because this is a story around the roses and the way that they're picked and everything else, are you saying you could have incorporated like rose petals into this pulp that you'd be able to see?
Yeah. Now, the obviously you can't do everything all together the first time. So I think that each project, as you'll be well aware, has certain deadlines, and that there are issues with where do you get it from? Is it usable? Is it the right type? Is it the right size? All that kind of stuff. But yes, in theory, that's totally possible. And if anyone comes and visits us or contacts us, we can actually send them a sample that we have that includes organic materials. I think you might have one, actually. I'm sure we must have sent you one at some stage. But yeah, that is possible.
Yeah, I've got a slew of samples. Perfect. All right, so number 1 is the story, the branding. Number 2 is just thinking, really kind of just thinking beyond all of these, just what you typically think of in terms of like the SolidWorks and the molding. Like, so what's number 3?
Number 3, we put as price, actually. So the question is, can you afford not to use Colourform?
So I like that spin on be ready that this is going to be a little expensive.
Right. So what we're saying is, this is a bespoke, it's a custom, beautifully crafted option for high-end packaging, right? So we're priced accordingly. So this is not mass market. You've seen the mass market molded fiber, and you get your eggs in it, or you get your mobile phone in it sometimes. But we are high-end luxury beauty, as you kindly said, a piece of art, and so there's a reason why we're dealing with the world's number 1 perfume brand, and or Europe's number 1, world's number 3 perfume brand, and the likes of high-end champagne. Is that the figures need to add up? So I think that's an important question, and we're very clear with our clients and our potential clients that if it's going to be something, if it's a $20 product, for example, you're probably not going to, it's probably not going to be right for us. So that's number 3.
Sure. And having seen I think at this point everybody has seen the Ruinart wrap that you've done. I think within a few weeks everybody's going to see this everywhere, just flooding the market from a marketing standpoint. But in terms of the quantity that you've done for Ruinart, are we talking hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands at this point?
It's not hundreds of thousands. Yeah, it's not hundreds of thousands just yet. No.
Perfect. And I think that because we see it so often, we're seeing it all over the place on all the social channels. We start to think that, oh, well, there's volume here, but it's not a volume play. It's a craft play. Sounds like.
Yeah, because this is a limit, it's not hundreds of thousands because it's a limited edition. We're able to do hundreds of thousands, no problem. We're not able to do tens of millions, which is some of the some of the consumer electronics would be in that level. So that's not our market. But the sort of up to a million pieces a year is something that would be doable. And the sort of minimum order quantity, again, depending on the project and the price and everything, we're looking at 50,000 units.
Okay, excellent. And for 50,000 units, you have to be ready to pay. Like, you said, can you afford not to do this? So what are we affording? The design time, the mold, prototype. I'm sure mass production mold. Like what exactly would you be having to prepare to pay for?
I think, yeah, exactly that.
Okay.
Design time, depending on the complexity of any project. A lot of what we do is like, trying to push the boundaries, and ultimately we've sort of covered a lot of ground over the last 5 or 6 years, and built up a huge amount of knowledge over that. But we find that it's a bit of a mix between, and everyone wants something that's a little bit new, a little bit special, obviously. And it's maybe a bit of a mix between adding a few new elements in, and then it's those elements that often do take the time. And so we're quite used to, with projects, them taking months, and then being able to go through multiple iterations, and then prototyping stages, and changing things and modifying to get to where we are with each project.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a difference for somebody to be aware of is, if you've done molded fiber before, it's completely different than what you're doing with Colourform. It's not that standard process because it is more of a craft versus, mold, punch out, move on to the next project. So we've got the first three things that you really have to consider as a designer. What do you have? What's the fourth and fifth that you have?
Number 4, free your mind essentially from preconceptions of what you think molded fiber is. It's seen as trays and things and inserts that go in boxes up until now, and what we've really tried to do on nearly every project we've worked on, which is to try and take its strengths and pull up some fantastic strengths. Things like you can almost put a hinge anywhere you like. With paper, we're finding that that's a real big strength, where we can put a hinge here, we can put a hinge there, and it works, and we can build on that. And then, we're starting to do more and more things where we can try and add class and click features, and try and get audible sounds into there. Really give that that feedback that you want when you close a pack. And 5, functionality. It's about trying to create the brief like an open brief. Ideally, what's the elements that you really want to describe?
Perfect. That's awesome. I got to tell you, before seeing this piece here, and having seen the Ruin Art insert, and having it here and actually playing with it, as a designer, you can't help but try to figure where this is going next. Like what I would do, or what I would use this for. I kept thinking of the Chanel fragrance bottle, and how great it'd be to mold a piece in the same shape as the bottle, which you've done here. Not that that matters, but like beyond this, like to be super sustainable. If you think about all the fashion magazines, you open them up and there's like the page in there with the fragrance, right? The paper that's got the fragrance on it, and people like rub it on, and they're like, oh, I've got the Chanel fragrance out of my Vogue magazine or whatever. Like, you could technically build this as the entire pack, open it up, and then inside have sheets of blotter that have the fragrance in it. So you would be eliminating the bottle, the juice, the pump, like everything, and just making a complete paper solution for fragrance.
Yeah, with that, I don't know if that would.
Really,
Yeah, I don't know if the in a magazine whether that fragrance is as good. I guess it is, or I don't know, but
it would have to be.
it would have to be, otherwise they wouldn't do it, right? So yeah.
Like here's a grosser smelling fragrance in the magazine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does ask lots of questions, and I think the Ruinar Second Skin. Everyone saw that and thought, oh, that's been done now. But then actually, then you look at the chalk wrap, the Dom Ruinar iteration of the Second Skin, and
Is
that
that the one
just
with the
blows.
big like rock?
Yeah, right. It's like a rock. Yeah, we call it the rock, but they call it the chalk wrap, and it's again telling the story of the chalk cellars where they store the champagne. But it blows it out of the water. It's like, wow. We just thought we'd done that, but actually, Rowan and the team have come up with something that is just crazily different. And I think La Vie Belle, to some extent, does that for the fragrance sector, but actually we don't know what's next, and that's why our number 4 question is challenge us to what's possible. What is it you guys want to do? Because in theory, there's all sorts possible. And I think one of the in marketing, one of the challenges that I have in this sector is to try and show people. We're putting together some print and foiling examples and some texture examples. Not to say this is what you can have, but just to say this is the kind of thing that might might inspire you, like you've seen the Kiss Inspire that we did, and the bottle topper, and the pebble, and the orb for jewelry. These things we're putting out there to inspire people to kind of come back to us and challenge us, instead of saying, "Oh, I've seen that thing. I want one like that." You know, it's going to move forward, but it also has to move forward with practicality and the consumer and costs and timings and everything else in mind.
Sure. So just real quick to put you kind of on the spot, Rowan, if Apple comes to you and they say, we've got this iconic Apple iPhone box that everybody loves, it's a 2-piece, it's laminated, it's got the insert, blah blah blah, but we want to move into a single unit molded fiber, like what would be your approach? Where do you think you'd land on that design?
I mean, yeah, what a great project that would be. Just taking some of the awesome, design language that they've built up over the years and trying to then bring that into pulp. But I mean, especially with Apple, there's that really kind of almost famous thing, which is that, that 7 seconds to open the box, and that's the perfect amount of suspense that they've, told us for a while. And you go, what could we then build on that and then say, hey, let's take that a step further and go, well, where could we go with that? And, how could the next piece do that, but maybe in a different way, or in a, break it up. So maybe it's an unveiling process as opposed to it's totally revealed, and it's just some thoughts maybe. But wouldn't it be cool to find out?
So yeah, we'd love to see your take on the Apple Watch at some point and how to package some of these tech products. Because tech has so much packaging, so much waste, and a lot of times, just like fragrance, the primary pack is built to take impact. It's built to really kind of handle all the product protection. So what you're doing is really we're creating a second skin over that product and over packaging it with the corrugate inserts and the rigid boxes, like all of those components. So if we can strip packaging down to the core essence of what's actually needed, you've got, you guys have you have the answer.
Absolutely, and that's
product.
The Dom Ruinart. I think the second skin was 9 times lighter than the gift box. The Dom Ruinart is actually 11 times lighter than the gift box it replaces. And so you're right. It's much better to have a second skin rather than a massive ski jacket and an overcoat and all your 7 layers in between, because it's perhaps a number of those layers are unnecessary.
Excellent. Well, guys, I appreciate it. As we wrap up here, Richard, Rowan, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, it's Colourform, COLOURFORM.com.
.co.uk or jamescropper.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, in the UK we put a U in colour and we put an extra we put an R in fibre, so it's RE, not ER.
Awesome,
you don't mind how you spell it.
No. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys being on here and doing this. This has been super educational. Again, this Lancome La Vie Belle is an amazing piece of design. Can't wait to see what comes next from you, from your team.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
All right, that's it for the show. Packaging Unboxed. We'll see you next week.